Hey guys, Anthony, 4x4 Diesel. Not another boring inspection, but one of my clients said to tell everyone, fix the heart before the BOTOX. And this guy, he would have fixed the heart if he knew that it had heart trouble, but the person giving the heart check told him everything was okay. So we've got a new bull bar and we've got some new Falcon Wild Peaks, not that we wouldn't have needed those anyway, and the suspension's already ordered. But guess what? Yes, it needs injectors. And check this out, right? And this is widespread problems, which is why I keep telling people, you really need to watch the videos, get yourself educated and do some stuff yourself, or be super careful where you take your vehicle. Now, when was this oil change? In the last few days? Or? Yeah, yesterday, there you go. Oil change yesterday. So look, possibly they could have wiped this, cleaned it up a bit more, but on my inspection today, to me it looks like it's leaking and it's wet. And to back that up, I'll say, if you have a look at the washer, see how much it's just squashed out, and you can see the crack in it around this side there, right? There's a bit of a crack there. So we've supplied him with a new washer so that if he, at his choice, if it is leaking or dripping, he can take it back and say, hey, do you mind changing the washer? Here's a brand new genuine one. But what we've done, we've had a bit of an inspection over the vehicle, and it's just, like a lot of them, it's dirty. It's not an off-road, it hasn't been off-road, but people don't get underneath and clean the car. They wash the paintwork. They don't really think about underneath. And underneath deserves a wash every now and then as well, depending how much you go off-road. Now these Wild Peaks, they look like pretty decent tyres actually, and when you consider the price, I think it's worth a go. I'm sort of not bagging the BFGs, I like them, but I'm bagging the price. A lot of other tyres, like the Wild Peaks, they haven't gone up 25, 30, 40% while other tyres have, so stick with value for money, I think, depending what your needs are. We're looking at this fuel hose here. You can see it's got the sweat on it. It's the usual sweat. This is why we tell people, this is why we do videos, trying to help, because this has been serviced all the places it's been. It doesn't matter whether I name Toyota dealers, whether I said Campbellfield Automotive or M1 Auto Care or whatever, Ultratune, Repco, it doesn't really matter, okay? It's widespread, all these places that, you know, can't do basic oil changes or can't tell people the correct information about when the injectors are due, they look like new when they're not, or they service the vehicle and they don't see this fuel hose. Things are about to start to get worse. This could happen on a trip or out on the tracks where it starts flexing up a bit more, rough roads, bumps, all that sort of thing, and that's when it cracks or starts leaking more, and next thing you know, you got, lucky it's only diesel, but dripping off the bottom of the tank here. The petrol vehicles, this is why you really need to be listening and make sure you've changed that fuel filler hose. I'll tell you what we'll do now, we'll get you the part number. There it is, there's the part number for the 120 Proto. If you got a 150, you don't need to change it yet. Just keep watching the video, subscribe, turn the bell on, and we'll let you know if at what point they need to be replaced. But at the moment, these are nice and soft when they're new. They perhaps change the rubber on the replacement ones, and perhaps they've got different rubber on the 150s because we don't see the problems with those ones yet. If you do see a problem with your 150 Proto, petrol or diesel, where this filler hose is leaking, then let us know in the comments so we can know that information and keep an eye on it. 212,000 Ks, and the report on the vehicle is, other than it needs a clean-up at the rear of the vehicle, it's got good tyres, it's got plenty of brakes, it needs a clean-up, it's got original suspension, the Dobinson's has been ordered, the fuel hose will be getting replaced, working our way forward, all the drive shafts have been lubricated, everything's dry, it just needs a clean-up. I'll say it could, this is the next part of the problem, right? So did someone say they did an auto flush? Is that what was meant? Did they say? Yeah. So they said they did a transmission flush. Now this is where I'm going to go. So at the moment we've got 3 problems on this vehicle, right? And it could be, is that 2 different workshops or 3 different workshops?
That's not one. I'll say 2.
So 2 altogether between the injectors and the oil change. It's one of those 2 that was meant to do an auto flush. Okay, cool. So, you know, we don't need to name and shame. It's widespread, right? We can name them, but we, you know, I suppose they just need to pull their socks up as well. But look, you can see somebody's had a tool inside there. They've had the, what is it, the 4 or 5 mil Allen key? I forget. Hey Johnny, is it a 4 or 5 mil Allen key on the auto thing? 5, yeah, okay. I always forget. 5 mil, right? You can see, if I hold it still, someone's had a tool in there. But see this 14 mil, is it a 14 or a 12? I always forget that. It's 14, I think. Anyway, that hasn't been touched in my opinion. Now, I'll say I could be wrong there, okay? But the backup we've got is, then we go to the filler plug, which is up here. Right, let me see if I can get it lit up for you. You can see the old mud and crusty dirt and dust that's just a speck of dirt sitting on there, right? That's at the bottom of the picture. Look at the washer and the dirt. It's set like concrete around that plug. That plug has not been off any time recently for months, if not at least a year. So there's nothing gone in the filler plug. I don't believe anything's come out the drain plug. I believe somebody's checked the transmission oil level, which means it's never had a flush, and it's due for that, in my opinion, because we mentioned that on the inspection. He said, oh yeah, could have been done, should have been done, and we found that. Now, this plug here sometimes leaks oil, but it doesn't mean it does on all vehicles. It's not really bad. Just monitor that. If it leaks, you replace that plug and the O-ring. We've got it in videos. Check out the video called All the Oil Leaks. Search our channel using the word oil leak and you will find the information you need. Now, these lower control arm bushes are actually in surprisingly good condition, considering 212,000 Ks. There's that nasty plug again. You can see both sides actually look really good. So if you haven't hammered all the speed humps, there's a good chance you might never change your control arm bushes, because overall these ones look fine. We've seen vehicles at these kilometres where they're mincemeat. So it all comes down to the suspension and the way you drive. These ones here at the front, a little bit twisted, but that's all normal. The other thing we noticed was a slight pin prick on the CV boot there. That's not worth the hundreds of dollars of labour to pull the shaft out, strip it down, clean it up, replace the boot with a genuine one. So what I'd say with that one is monitor it for now. It's probably only going to stay really minor. If you want to do one of our RTV fix-ups, you could do that. You could sit it in this position just like that. You could give it a really good clean-up without getting too much inside the boot. It's a very small hole. And you could smear a bit of that flexible RTV over it, let it dry for 2 or 3 days, and then that'd probably seal it up and you're good for another. I'd recommend replacing these only once the boots are split or broken, which doesn't happen because they're really good quality Toyota thing, or if you break one, which doesn't happen on the Prados either. But about 350, 400,000 Ks is where you might look at replacing drive shaft. So it would be good to get a little bit more out of this. Even if you did nothing with that, I believe that minimal amounts of grease are coming out, and it's probably going to be good to 400,000 Ks anyway. There's no play in this rack here. This is a 2008 120. Look at that, no oil. We say the 120s are bloody awesome. Well, you know, this side, it's clean and dry as well. So it's actually a good vehicle. It just needs a clean up. It needs a sump plug washer. It needs a set of injectors because they've never been out or not much. So check the oil pickup, get the injectors out. They're off their heads. That's all in other videos. Probably a transmission flush. The suspension's going in, and pretty well it's in business. And I suppose if he had known, if the place had told him the correct information, turbo's nice and dry, and that is that it needs injectors, he probably would have spent his money on the injectors before the bull bar. Either way, you need tyres, but yeah, it would have been good to get the heart, the injectors, before the BOTOX, which is the bull bar and the suspension, if you like, you know. So anyway, guys, hopefully that's helped you understand why we do what we do, trying to give you the right information. It's a widespread problem getting the wrong information on all different aspects of the automotive information or repairs on your vehicle. As simple as oil changes, people don't change plugs. As simple as a transmission flush, they just check the level. And you know, injectors, at least somebody's been lubing the drive shaft, right? Looks like somebody put some lubrication in there, or it's been done enough that it's nice and wet and lubricated anyway. Thanks for watching, guys. Like I said, subscribe, turn the bell on, hit the like button, catch you on the next one.